Boomer Sooner.
Ball's out, rolling around on the turf. Sooners recover. Looks right, wants to throw, does. It's intercepted. He's under pressure. He lobs end zone. Touchdown!
This is the Riverwind Casino Coach's Corner on the Sooner Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. Also brought to you by Dos Equis, official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. And by Walden Cleaners. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. This is the Riverwind Casino Coach's Corner. Here are your hosts, Chris Plank and Gabe Ikard.
And we kick the show off, brought to you by Riverwind Casino. That's Gabe. I'm Plank. He is Sooner legend, tight ends coach, co-offensive coordinator, John Finley. I feel like we've done this before.
I think so.
Gabe Ikard is a college tight end. Could it have happened, you think? Stand out at Bishop McGuinness.
I knew I was there to be the next Brody Eldridge.
Okay.
I was there to block.
All right.
I would have been Joe John's kind of guy. Just, hey, what do you need me to do? You need me to do the dirty work? I got you. Zone insert, split zone, line up as a fullback. That was.
Hey, Brody played center too.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Absolutely.
In the BYU game, he had like 18 knockdowns. It was incredible.
As a center?
Yeah, they were like, Brody can do it. Started at center.
We would always joke that if you ever wanted to get Coach Stoops going in a good way, like if it was a press conference where he wasn't giving a lot of long answers, ask about Brody Eldridge.
That's
then
right.
all of a sudden he would just go
That's
on
right.
a guy like
if
that.
If you want to get Coach Venables to like a recruit, say he reminds me of Brody.
We learned a trick. Joe John, obviously, not what you wanted offensively, but as a team to see the way that they came together on Saturday night in the win over Houston, looking back on the tape, how overall did you feel about the team's performance?
I think it was a big win. It's one of those games where could have gone either way. Obviously, we wanted it to be a little bit different, but excited to see our guys and the defense, special teams step up and make plays. Obviously, offensively, we want to play a little bit better, but man, our guys pulled together and found a way to win. And at the end of the day, that's the only stat that matters.
Looking at that Houston game, Jake Roberts with just a couple of massive plays in the football game. The touchdown, of course, but then a really nice catch in the fourth quarter. Just where have you seen the most improvement from Jake since he's been on campus?
Man, Jake's a solid and steady guy. Like he's played a lot of football over his career, and that showed up on Saturday when we're playing with a lot of inexperienced guys, first-year quarterback, a lot of first-year receivers, young offensive linemen. You look for guys like that to step up and make plays, and we'll continue to lean on him and Bauer and all of our tight ends because they've got experience, and the game is a little bit slower for them. It's not in fast forward out there. It's a little bit more slow motion, but you can see that catch right there. He could have kept it a little skinnier, made it easier on himself, but at the end of the day, you got to make a play, and that was one of the biggest plays in the game.
Well, I had a chance to sit down with Jake this week. What a great kid, right? Loves Oklahoma. Sister's a volleyball player at the collegiate level. Her mom was a collegiate volleyball player. His brothers won back-to-back state titles. I mean, this is an incredibly athletic family, and it's cool to see a kid that loves Oklahoma and is a fan have a moment like that, isn't it?
It really is. You know, his family's Oklahoma through and through, and man, just so happy for him. I thought even for the first game, the first time he walked out on the football field in the Crimson and Cream, I was like, you could see on his face it was a dream come true. He wasn't crying, but it was very emotional for him, and I'm just happy he got to live out that dream and play well, and he needs to continue to play well for us because he's one of our most experienced guys.
Looking at some of the personnel groupings you guys relied upon in the Houston game, we know that you got several wide receivers that are banged up and haven't been available, and that's allowed you to get to some more of the 12 personnel stuff with Bauer, Sharp, and Jake Roberts on the field at the same time. How do you feel about how that personnel grouping has gone as the tight ends coach?
I think it's been really good for us, you know, and those are two guys that have played more football than anybody else on that football field, and I think the quarterback feels comfortable in 12 personnel, just being able to do a little bit of everything. You can line up all over. You see Bauer right there lining up as a receiver, and Jake can do that as well. And then I actually got into some 13 personnel with Cade McIntyre, and so, you know, it was fun for me to yell out 13 on the sideline and watch three tight ends go in the game. But yeah, we just got to continue to use these guys, and and find different ways to create advantages for our offense.
Definitely want to talk about more of the guys in your room, but I want you to talk about yourself a little bit first. Co-offensive coordinator now, different than what you've done here in the past. How different does it feel for you personally with your new role?
I feel more tired. I don't sleep a lot. I'm just constantly thinking through situations and how to put our guys in perfect situations. Because like I said, we don't have a lot of experience out there, so you want to make it simple for those guys and complicate it on the defense. And so it's been a lot of fun. Seth's unbelievable to work for. Obviously, we have great coaches, and Bill Bedenbaugh that's been here for years. He's the best O-line coach in the country. You don't even have to really plan for run game. He's going to take care of that, then you can kind of build it around that. And so DeMarco Murray's done a great job, and Emmett Jones. We're surrounded by really great coaches, and there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to get this right.
Nobody, I think, gets a better workout on game day than Joe Jon Finley because you're constantly moving and you're calling all the signs. How much of that has changed for you, though, with the helmet communication? Has it changed much for you guys?
Yeah, it changes. Obviously, we still want to play with tempo, and so that's why you still see me signal sometimes, and we have other signalers, and sometimes I'm live, sometimes I'm just shooting out random stuff.
Getting a workout.
My wife is like, what was that signal? I was like, it was nothing. I just made that up.
I'm just making live, stuff up over here.
It was, it's really changed the game. You're going to see a lot more huddling and a lot more quarterback communication, and it's something obviously we're working through. You don't get preseason like the NFL, so you go through your first 2 games, you learn, okay, we need to adjust this, tweak that, but I think it's going to be good for the game. I wish they would put it in all the skilled guys' ears. That way you could take sign stealing, signal stealing out of the game. But
I completely agree with that. Now, looking at the offensive performance against Houston, clearly did not go the way that you guys wanted it to go. And, those guys on the offensive side of the ball, you're trying to block out all the criticism, but I'm sure they're hearing some of it. How do you make sure that outside noise doesn't affect your players and you keep them focused on, just improving day by day?
That's right. You just force it home every single day. You let these guys know that the only people that matter are the people in this room. And they got to fight for each other, coaches included. And you can find bad stuff anywhere you look. Even when we were number 3 team in the country in offense last year, and you can find plenty of bad stuff about our offense. And so the only people that matter are the people in this room, and they know that, and we'll continue to push that and make sure that the only thing you can control is yourself and getting better in this football team. And they've done a great job with that. They came back to work this week with an even better mindset, and it doesn't matter. That doesn't make you play better on Saturday. So we got to continue to learn how to execute and do our job over and over and over again.
We got a lot of questions about Bauer, Sharp, and your younger tight ends we want to get to. But before we grab our initial timeout, Joe Jon, how have you seen Jackson Arnold? Brent Venables talked about it at his presser and his coach's show on Monday night. The guy's kind of built for this, and obviously there's been frustration. But in that same vein, is he a guy that needs a pep talk? It never seems like he's really too down over there.
He's not. He's actually kind of been through this. He played at a really high-profile high school in Texas, and it was forced into a game as a freshman in high school in the state championship game against Austin Westlake, and had a little bit of a rough game, but bounced back and had an unbelievable career. And so he just got to, just like every single person on our offense, take it one play at a time, one day at a time, one meeting at a time, and control what he can control and do his job. And if everybody does their job, we're going to like the result.
Becoming the leader of the team, it just comes with being the quarterback, right? And he has not played a lot of football, but he's been thrust into this leadership position for this offense. How have you seen Jackson grow in that leadership role?
Man, I think just his leadership is really developed. Last year he couldn't really do it. He wasn't the guy, and now he's forced into that, and you can coach that. You can develop that, and hey, man, this is a situation in practice. This is what's going to happen, and this is what these guys need to hear. Like, look at the team right now. You can see, okay, they're a little bit down right now. What can you do to go help them? Or they're fired up and ready to go. What do I need to say right here to be the best leader that I can be? And honestly, I feel the same way. I'm in a new role. So that's exactly what I'm trying to develop myself.
Quick break. We'll come back and we'll talk about the Tulane Green Wave and the rest of that tight end room with Sooner co-offensive coordinator and tight ends coach Joe Jon Finley on the Coach's Corner, presented by Riverwind.
Coach's Corner is brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. Orthodontics Exclusively is a proud sponsor of the Junior Captain of the Game. Junior Captain is the ultimate fan experience for children 6 to 12. Bob Moore Ford is proud to honor service members through the Patriot of the Game. Chick-fil-A. Download the Chick-fil-A app and order your favorites ahead of time.
Welcome back inside the Coach's Corner. Final segment we get with Joe Jon Finley. And Coach, we talked a little bit about Jake. We talked a little bit about Bauer Sharp last segment. But I do want to go a little bit more in depth with Bauer. What has the adjustment been like for him coming from Southeast Louisiana? He was the star of a spring camp. A lot of people talking about him, how he performed in the fall. What's his adjustment period been like?
And it's first of all, he played quarterback in high school. So he hasn't played a whole bunch of tight end. But you turn on the tape from when we recruited him, and man, he's special with the ball in his hands. Even in camp, he made plays. He's hurdling people, jumping over people, scoring touchdowns. The biggest thing for him is just learning how to control, play control. He's a dog. He wants to knock you out. Like, he wants the big highlight hit, and that's not always what's best. I want to block somebody and stay on them until the whistle's blown. We're talking about Brody Eldridge earlier. I watched tape of him this week showing him how you finish a block. When that whistle is blown, are you still blocking your man? And so that's the biggest adjustment for him, just understanding when I can take a kill shot and when I need to stay on people. But he's done a great job. He's one of the hardest workers. He's one of the leaders of our football team, and proud of him, and can't wait to see how the rest of the year goes for him.
With his athleticism, how do you guys get him more involved in the passing attack? Because he can run, he's got good hands, and we just haven't seen the ball come his way a ton in these first couple games.
That's right. You just got to find ways. We have all the ways to get him the ball. We got to execute it. Sometimes we call it, we don't execute it, just like the rest of the game. But just find different ways to get him screens and throw him the ball is ways you can get him involved. And he's ready for that. He's excited for that. But I talk to them all the time about karma. If you finish that block and stay on the guy, for some reason that ball's going to find you. And that's what I want him to focus on. Don't worry about catching the ball. Worry about doing your job every single time. And for some reason that ball will find you.
I feel like last year when we would have our conversations about your room, you were battling an injury bug and numbers. Austin Stogner at times was the only dude that we would see that could consistently make plays. How cool is it to see a handful? You got more than just one or two guys in there. We're talking 13 personnel earlier, and some of these younger guys, Kane Helms, McIntyre, they've really stepped up.
Absolutely. I think Caden McIntyre's made the biggest improvement of any player I've ever coached from spring football to fall camp. And he just changed his mindset. He came in and halfway through camp, I said, man, I just want to know what flipped in your mind. What was the thing? And he said, Coach, I decided I'm going to make you play me. And that's what we look for. And he did that. And so that's why he's in on certain packages, because he's practiced and played too well not to put him in the football game.
He's a unique player, a unique body type at the tight end position. Like, do you view him as a tight end? Is he more of I know you just called the entire room tight end, but kind of like an H-back? Like, how do you guys view him, and how can you maybe use him in some unique ways that you can't use the other guys?
Yeah, I think, like you said, he's got a unique ability. He's in high school, he played quarterback, receiver, linebacker. Coach Venables wanted him as a linebacker, but I said absolutely
of course
not.
He did.
He's a tight end. So there's all kinds of ways you can use him, but if he's going to continue to execute at a high level, you're going to see more of him.
Speaking of offensive playmakers, let's listen in. A little Brennan Thompson mic'd up.
Good day. I see you. Hey. I was working. Hey. What? You say what's up to your people?
It's me. Ooh, that boy mic'd up.
You say what's
What
up?
up, Mom? Get that rash figured out.
Rat. Stop. Look at Trey. Don't believe what he said, bro. He just trolling. Nice. Out of baby. Hey, baby Jay. If the worst thing that can happen to me is me getting flushed to where the quarterback ain't got a spot to put the ball.
Exactly, because he's mirroring it. So if you have to put your body in front of the
That's a catch. All day. All damn day. Man, it felt good in that truck. I ain't gonna lie to you. And wherever OU getting their watermelon, I need to know, because that stuff good.
So we had a chance to talk to him post-game, had the touchdown catch on the nice adjustment. I know the receivers have battled injuries, which Farouk and unfortunately Jaden Gibson. But it's pretty cool when you see a guy like that, Joe Jon, that's taken advantage of the opportunity and still has so much more growth to go.
Absolutely. Coach Jones has done a great job with him, man. Just his development. You know, when he got here, he was really just, hey, run really fast and we'll throw it to you really far. And so that's what he did last year. He caught like 3 or 4 touchdowns over 50 yards. But, man, just to watch him grow, and he's a great human being, man. He's fun to be around. He's always got a smile on his face. He's always got a positive attitude. And he's got to continue to develop because, shoot, man, that's, like I said, we're beat up in that room. So he's having to play more than he's ever had to play in his life. And he's doing a great job and continues to lead, and extremely happy for him because there's no one who deserves it more.
With his speed, I mean, you see him catching the deep over route. He's won on some go balls this season that they just haven't been able to, him and Jackson have not been able to connect on. But how much easier does it make it for an offense when you have guys that can produce those explosive plays like that?
It makes it really easy. You know, I mean, I like those one-play drives. And but you saw the other day, man, catching the over route, just getting it going. If we can get that first down, and we continue to talk about that. If we get that first down, then we can get into what we like and get going. But man, he's special and fun to watch. And we got some other guys like Zion Raggers. I'd love to see them in a race. You know, he hasn't played. He's a true freshman. And so you saw him out there quite a bit the other day. Did some really, really good things. Just has to do it consistently every single play. That way 11 knows exactly where he's going to be all the time.
And I think I'm glad we keep bringing up it's experience, it's time. There's no match for seat time. People will see recruiting rankings and say, well, they were great in high. But Joe Jon, there's a process, right? And you got to understand the massive adjustment that it takes to being effective at this level as opposed to where you were in high school. It's a tough adjustment.
That's exactly right, but we're also at the University of Oklahoma. So
That's right.
These guys got to make that process happen really, really fast because everybody's counting on them. And that's I'm talking to myself when I say that because I know what this university expects on offense. Our guys know that, and they're working their butts off to get it there, and there's no doubt in my mind they're going to get it right. I can't wait to see them go out on Saturday and execute.
Good reminder of how good this Tulane team is after watching what they did against Kansas State, nearly pulling off the upset. What have you seen from the Green Waves defense?
Very good defense, man. These guys have been good for years. It's a very similar defense to what we saw last week. These coordinators know each other very well, and so these guys play extremely hard. They expect to win every single game. You saw that they walked into K-State and they expected to win that football game. They're going to do the same thing when they walk in here. And our guys got to be ready, but man, they've prepared well, and I look forward to watching them go out and execute.
Have a blast this weekend, Coach. We appreciate
Absolutely.
you.
Appreciate
Joe
you.
Jon Finley. We'll come back, talk with Jay Valai about the Sooner defense next inside the Coach's Corner.
We want to thank all of our Sooner Radio Network affiliates across the state and region. Fans can check out Soonersports.com for an affiliate in your area. And if you're traveling outside the state of Oklahoma, you can listen to all the action on either SiriusXM Radio or download the Varsity Network app and listen free. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality.
All right, welcome back inside the Coach's Corner, presented by Riverwind. We say hello to Jay Valai, the assistant head coach for defense.
Come on, man.
Co-defensive coordinator, pass defense, corners, and nickelbacks. I saw you after the game on Saturday, and I'm like, this is a different mindset for this team. How cool is it to see first best in being the defense and how this team has just really embraced that?
No, I think I think last year we kept talking about it. You're tired of being the but. You know, you want to be the and eventually you want to be the why. And like I said, us on defense, our mindset is every game, no matter what, you don't have to rely on the other side of the ball to go, to be great for you to dominate your box. I know our offense is going to be great, but from our perspective on defense is we got to do our job every single play and get it done.
Looking at the defense as a whole, Zach Alley takes over as the defensive coordinator. What has that change been like for you now that Brent Venables appears to be kind of floating around on the offensive side a little more?
A little ghost around. No, he's still around, obviously, but like I said, Zach's been awesome, bouncing ideas back and forth, open-minded guy, really good energy, really focused, really detailed, and it's been great, man. Like I said, Zach is like a long-lost brother already, but his mindset, his love of the game, his thought process as he goes throughout everything has been really consistent, and it's been really good for all of us. Particularly me as well, too. I mean, Zach's been awesome. So.
Have you noticed, too, how he sounds just like Brent Venables when he talks?
Yeah, Zach sounds like Zach. I know they said the BB thing, but Zach still like Zach's funny dude, too. On the outside, it's just, hey, you guys, how you doing? But he's got jokes, man. He's hilarious and really good dude, down to earth. And it's really good to have a coach that, and just in general, always being around coaches, that you run through a wall for because of who they are as well, too. So, that's always a big perspective to have.
It takes a certain amount of confidence and a certain sense of humor to rock a mustache like that.
No doubt.
I've always felt that way.
No doubt. It's some old-timers. One guy obviously can't use his name, but the mustache has always been, I was, concerned myself. I didn't do the mustache, but the taco meat, the Black Burt Reynolds. So if I could go just the mustache with that, that's all the Lowrys you need for any kind of steak. So. That's it.
Let's just talk in general about the performance of this secondary, specifically your room. How have you felt about the corners? I know Gentry's been battling a few things, but it seems like these new guys and some of the young guys are taking advantage of those opportunities.
When God gives you an opportunity, you better run through the door. I remember one time, a pastor was talking about there was a big flood and guys on top of the roof talking about, God help me. A boat goes by. All right, I'm waiting for God. Plane helps me. I'm waiting for God. So he sees God in heaven. He's like, what happened? Well, I'm sent you a boat, sent you a plane, do something with it. So when these guys get opportunities, and some guys have not just waited for an opportunity to come, some people have taken it. Kanai Walker's been a guy who's just, coming and taking the opportunity. And, for me, there ain't no politics, ain't no Kamala or Trump or Biden, none of that in my room. Best guy's going to play, and he's been a guy taking full advantage of that as well. But the young guy's been really good. Des Malone's coming really good as well, too. But Jacoby Johnson's coming along, like big time. Eli Bowen. We'll get to see him finally, and he'll be out there healthy and be able to move around as well too. And Vickers coming back, and and Woody's still Woody. I think Woody Washington's still one of the best overall DBs in the country, and from a versatility standpoint, can do a little bit of everything. So KD's moving around, Dolby Sound, and all our secondary, we love them.
When you have so many experienced guys, and they're all battling to be out there on the field, like how do you handle that situation in the room?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think being honest is first and foremost, right? I think guys who play malnourished, and I like the heat on people on the back of people's neck a little bit. I got to go perform not just on Saturday, but every single day, and not just every single day on the practice field, but every single day in the meetings. Because once again, it's practice habits equal game reality. But if you, the only way you can play it, I got to hear you say it. And that's how guys play from confident. They play convicted because they understand the context clues and how to play aggressive and no hesitation or trepidation, to be honest with you. So it puts a little more heat on everybody who's watching a little extra more film, who's trying to get extra head, and you got to have a malnourished mindset. You love your teammates, you love your brothers, but somebody's got to eat. It's got to be me. And I love the mindset of our room. We're together, but once again, we're still being aggressive. Go take the job.
When Des Malone came in from San Diego State, I think those of us who were trying to figure out what kind of player he was, is he a safety? Is he a corner?
Yeah.
What's he going to project to? He's been really good over at corner. What have you seen from him early here in his career?
He reminds me a lot of when CJ came in. CJ Colton, same thought process. Smooth, relaxed guy, same thing. And the biggest thing is he's still growing throughout the season. He's a vet, but there's a lack of ego, you know what I mean? And I always talk about humility is a week away. Either you're going to be humble or get humbled. And his whole mindset is having a humble mindset to continuously, I got to be a player who's got to continuously grow throughout my stages. Even though I'm an older guy, doesn't mean I can't grow. Intellectual humility, So he's been really good from that perspective and open-minded and new thoughts and just ready to roll. So it's been good.
There was a play in the Houston game that I need your help with. And I don't know the rules.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want you to get fined.
Simple rules.
I don't want you to get fined. And I think we have the footage. But to me, it looked like Woody Washington did exactly what you coached him to do, and then made a heck of a one-handed interception.
Yeah.
Is that how you saw it?
Well, from my perspective, yes, but I heard an all-time great poet say this: "I'm just here so I don't get fined."
Okay.
So I think that's the simple line.
Marshawn Lynch.
The great poet named Marshawn Lynch said, "I'm here so I don't get fined." And so, Woody couldn't have played it any better. It was chest to chest, got his eyes back, and I had a little, crazy moment on the sideline. I was a little upset, but God, and I think, things like that you can look through, and I teach him and coach him to do the same thing every single time. He did great by it, and I'm gonna have his back. And it is what it is. People are humans too. Refs are humans. If not, it'd be Major League Baseball, and they're having issues with sometimes a little extra stuff. So, but it's just in general. So
isn't it fun though to see Woody, who it's cross-trained a bit, did a little bit at safety at times, but then has battled a few things. We didn't see him take a snap in the first game, but to see him go out and be Woody Washington is really cool.
100%, and that's what Woody is, and Woody's gone through trials and tribulations. He's ready to work, ready to grind. There's a reason he came back, and that's one of the guys since I've been here, and be honest with you, since I coached anywhere, whether it's Alabama or Georgia or any of these other places, he's been one of my favorite people ever to coach because of who he is and his mindset, and he wants to be great. Nashville's finest.
Looking at Kani Walker,
yep.
We touched on it a little bit earlier, but the guy's always looked the part.
Oh yeah.
Now he's playing the part. Where have you what's changed for him? Where's that improvement come from?
Being brilliant at the basics. How you wake up, how you go about your daily plan. It's always okay. To me, the strongest word in the English dictionary is no. You know what I mean? And so, do I wake up, or do I go to class, or do I do the wrong thing? No. All right, what do I need to do? Do the right thing, yes. And go through my daily procedures and what do say, practice happens, game reality, but just across the board from your whole game plan, your daily plan, and being consistent with that. Consistency is what's driven him to become a better football player. And once again, he's the guy who wants to grow and learn. He called me this morning, "Hey, Coach, what else should I be watching? Well, third down, red zone, what are we doing?" And just locking in on even more. So to me, a guy who's hungry like that for knowledge and is taking care of his body the right way too, because it looks like a black Greek god with a swollenness like that too, and just Black Thor, I guess. But his mindset to be great has been the biggest thing. It's all between the ears. That's what it always starts with.
We got more with Jay Valai as we'll talk about Tulane and their offensive attack that's coming in Saturday afternoon as you're inside the Coach's Corner, presented by Riverwind. Stick around.
OU's 2024 football games are available on Exodus 96.5 FM in Oklahoma City and 101.5 FM El Patron in Tulsa, as well as on those stations' websites. Each OU Spanish broadcast will feature a 30-minute pregame show and a 15-minute postgame show. The Sooner Sports Podcast is your all-access audio pass to Sooner Sports. Listen as Toby Rowland and Chris Plank talk all things Sooners. New episodes drop every day. Log on to Soonersports.com/podcast or search Sooner Sports Podcast in your favorite podcast provider. Presented by Allstate and Riverwind Casino.
Coach's Corner rolls on with Jay Valai. This segment brought to you by Community Coffee. We're having a fresh cup of Community Coffee with Jay Valai here on Coach's Corner. Well, let's just start real quick with Tulane and what you've seen from them. They come in with a boatload of confidence. nearly forced overtime against Kansas State. But what kind of stood out with the Green Wave attack that you'll see this weekend?
One, I'd love to have my Jay Leno cup.
Yeah, we got to get you your coffee cup so you can be sitting here.
Yeah, they was doing these, and it's not really coffee, but I digress. Tulane's done a great job. I mean, they had a great game last week versus Kansas State, but this is who they've been for years and years and years. Obviously, a new coaching staff. But at Troy, they did a fantastic job over there as well, too. Coach Summerall and all of them as well, too. But you love the flow of their offense. They want to keep everything on the clock and working really well. They're really smart. They're well coached. They got vertical threats. They're going to push the ball down the field. And to me, it's just opportunities to go attack. It just is what it is. But they've done a fantastic job over there. They got really good skilled receivers as well, too, and a great skilled quarterback and a great running back. O-line's done a great job as well, too. So it makes us excited because that's a great battle, and we can't wait to rock and throw hands and get after it with them as well, too.
I know that your guys, you try to approach every single week with the same focus.
Oh, yeah.
But and I know coaches speak in numbers, not in names when it comes to opponents.
Touche.
1, 5, and 9 get your attention real quick.
Very fast.
1, 5, 9, 4. Like these guys, they get your attention real quick. So I'm assuming it didn't take you long in the first meeting when you guys were talking about Tulane for the guys to lock in for this one.
Get your jaw set, as they say. Get your mindset. Guys going to challenge us down the field, and I think it's perspective. Are you trying not to get beat, or are you going to go make plays? And to me, you got to go make plays. You should, love the atmosphere, love the opportunity, love the fact that the pressure's getting put on you and the ball's getting thrown your way. You should want that. If you want to be an elite football player, if you're here to just have a towel on the sideline, do this to the crowd, and put on Instagram, you're in the wrong spot. You should die for these moments. The ball coming your way.
Looking at Tulane's quarterback, Darian Mensah, can make all the throws.
Oh, yeah.
Has shown that through his first couple of games this season. But he's the most mobile guy that you guys have seen this season.
Yep.
How does that change the mentality for the guys in your group, knowing that this guy can really extend plays, and also with all the boot stuff that they do, they 100%. Like to get him out of the pocket, change the launch point. How does that change things for the guys in your room?
It all begins, ends, starts, doesn't really matter with your eyes. Your eye progression is everything. My call lineman stands key responsibility, but that key thing is the key. And your key is going to lead you wherever you need to do. So if he's scrambling, you got to plaster. You got to cover. Just simple as that. But the one thing he does really well is he can run, but he's scrambling to throw, keeping his eyes downfield like Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, which is another good comparison for him as well, too. He's just really smart, really sound, and keeps the play alive, but surgical about the way he goes about it, too.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun challenge Saturday afternoon at 2:30. Mentioned a couple more of your guys we haven't talked about. Now, are you still working with Kendall quite a bit? Because Kendall Dolby's been a hell of a story.
Yeah, so Dolby works with myself, Coach Brewer, Coach Alley. We got them all cooking all over the place. Coach Brewer and Coach Henry Weinreb have done a really good job as well with those guys as well. But Kendall Dolby's a special dude. He's a leader. He's a violent football player, a malnourished football player. And, his story is the reason he plays the way he plays. Having to go the JUCO route and head down working, grinding, and he's not going to waste an opportunity. He's not going to. So he's one of my favorite players to coach on this football team because of who he is and the mindset he plays with.
Gentry Williams was having a heck of a season last season.
Yep.
Got injured.
Yep.
We saw him get banged up again last week against Houston.
Yep.
How do you keep his spirits up? Because that can be so tough when you go injury, you work your way back, and then you get hurt again.
Usually it won't hurt as much if you're not invested, right? But the kid has poured everything like he has. That's the reason it hurts so bad. And like I tell people all the time, I told Gentry to his face, he's one of my favorite people. It's one of the tough things I've gone through, seeing a kid like that who does everything right, and then this has happened to him. But for him, I told him your whole, key in life and everything going forward, you need to be a walking testimony about how you go about your business and getting back. It's always about the come up. You're one of one. Guys, give me this one opportunity, still push all the way through, and another door will open up for him here soon again to be healthy, to come back out there and play ball. But you feel bad for a guy like that. But his nature and his infectious personality and his study habits have really poured into the rest of the guys in the room as well, too. So Gentry's awesome.
You can see it, unfortunately, on his face, the frustration just not being out there after one snap. One guy who it's been fun to watch develop is Jacoby Johnson, the Mustang kid, man. He's really stepped up.
Yeah. Yeah, I could still beat him at basketball. That knows what you're talking about.
He's a heck of a basketball player.
He was, but I was better. His dad is better than him at basketball. But Jacoby's a great athlete, long, physical, can run. And for him, I told him, once he is as confident as I am in him, as in himself, he'll be, hard to stop just because athletic ability's there. Understanding the game is getting better and better. Had a great program, obviously, at Mustang, which is phenomenal. And Coach Blankenship and the rest of the crew over there, who was a walk-on quarterback here, right? And he's got funny stories, but it's been phenomenal to see Jacoby's growth and someone I believe in.
You mentioned that we're finally going to get to see Eli Bowen. He was one of the talks of training camp. I know a couple times I was out there running with the ones. Clearly, you guys feel comfortable about putting him out there on the field as a true freshman. Just what do you think are his biggest strengths?
Man, his understanding of the game, his football, FBI, his football intelligence is insane, but his transitional speed is really good. His understanding is really good. And it's just an overall, invested football player on being great. He's not waiting for somebody to hand him a card. Hey, you're great. Hey, I'm great. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, the kid's working to do it every single day. And, I can't wait to see him on that football field, a.k.a. the Bowen brothers, like the O'Shea brothers and Little Giants, having one back-to-back together. So it'll be really good.
One other corner I wanted to add, Makari Vickers, Seabelt. I mean, he's been a little dinged up, but boy, he just looks good over there. So is it time for him?
Yeah, Seabelt is back now. He's healthy. This is his first week back, and he'll be good. He'll be ready to roll, and with the opportunities, getting some rust off. But Vickers is Vickers. He's gonna hit. He's gonna hit. he's gonna cover and be smart and be aggressive. But I can't wait to see Vic back out there. Awesome family too. One of the best families I've ever been around in recruiting and just general. Just tremendous family. But he wants to go out there and dominate.
With your experience playing, how important confidence is for a defense to play at an extremely high level. Where do you think this group is at with their confidence right now, and just how good do you think this group can be?
Yeah, I think once again, confidence leads to conviction, and the number one thing you got to do is know you're never there. Even when we're there, we're not there. So having that mindset to continuously have growth every single week, whether we're trying to pepper the rock more, whether we're trying to get more interceptions, the tackling, the angles, the pre-snap communication, we're going to get motion because the crazy, you're going to get motion. So how good are the guys talking? I think the way a great team is coming along is two things. When you're on the football field, you hear them before you see them because everybody's talking. And then the other part is, once again, you can feel them on the football field. Like, feel them. Like whether you're in the crowd, you feel them. You feel that energy. And once you get that thing swaying around and you start getting it, like you guys start feeling it now, that's when it gets real. But that litmus test starts with, Tulane this week and then the other guys the next week. But, you got to be ready for Tulane and be ready to roll. And they're going to check our oil, so we're going to make sure that oil's good.
Man, thanks, Coach. We'll wrap it up next inside the Coach's Corner.
Thank you to our Cornerstone television partners, OU Health, OG&E, Fowler Auto Group, and Coca-Cola.
Time for our final segment, brought to you by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. It's Tulane coming up on Saturday. We've had some doozies with Tulane in the past. So, Gabe, it's time for our Bob Moore Ford. Bob Moore Ford, by the way, proud to honor service members to the Patriot of the Game. Time for our Bob Moore Ford scouting report. 1-1, but, man, they gave Kansas State all they could handle last week for Tulane.
Dominated, or at least controlled, the vast majority of that football game. And as I went back and watched the tape, a game they should have won. I mean, there was a late mistake by Darian Mensah that resulted in a scoop and score for Kansas State. That was a massive, massive play in that football game. If that play does not happen, I'm pretty sure Tulane walks out of there with a win. But it did happen. Even though they're coming off a loss against Kansas State, they're going to be a more confident football team. And the thing about it, when you look at it, especially offensively, they got talent. I really like what I've seen from the Tulane offense. Darian Mensah is a big-time player at the quarterback position. He can make all of the throws, and he's got great mobility. And they have speed at the skill positions. Wide receiver, tight end, running back, they can really run. And then their offensive line, they're not the biggest group, but they come off the football. And they play with velocity, and they play with violence. I really like what I've seen from the Green Wave offense. And then on the defensive side of things, I think it's the best defense we've seen. I think the strength of the defense is up the middle. The interior of the defensive line, they've got a lot of experience at linebacker. Those guys play at a high level. I do think there's some pieces in the secondary that Oklahoma will attack, especially at the safety position. But this is undoubtedly the biggest test for Oklahoma this season.
So, with that in mind, by the way, familiar name, wide receiver Mario Williams, spent a season here at Oklahoma. He's having a good year.
Fly.
Yeah, he's looking good. It's time for Records Intel. So, how do we get a dub for the Sooners on Saturday? It's brought to you by Orthodontics exclusively.
It's the same formula. It's control the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively. And then you have to do the little things at a high level. You have to win the field position battle. You have to win the turnover battle. You have to manage the clock properly. It's all these things that maybe we overlook sometimes in football. Like, there is a good football team coming to Norman on Saturday. And if you do not play clean, they can beat you.
Yep.
And it's about being more detailed, especially offensively, than the Sooners have been. Like, I think OU's offense can score a lot of points against this Tulane defense. But they have to execute at a higher level than we've seen them execute in these first two football games. And I believe they can do that. I believe Jackson Arnold's going to continue to improve. He's a young quarterback. He's going to get better. But it all starts with that offensive line. That group, they have to play at a high level. And that run game, the run game needs to get going. If you're a one-dimensional offense, you're much easier to defend. So I am hopeful and optimistic that we'll see the Sooners use a little more variety in their run game. That may get things going a little more. And then if you can run it efficiently, just everything falls in place offensively. Now, it's not going to be easy because Tulane's physical and they're talented. But I'm excited to watch OU's offense on Saturday.
Records Intel brought to you by Orthodontics exclusively, proud to sponsor the junior captain of the game, the ultimate fan experience for children grades 3 through 7. There you go. New rules this year, striping the stadium, even numbered section wear white, odd numbered sections wear crimson. The OU student section will wear crimson as well. Easy for me to say. And we'll see you 12:30, actually 11:30. Got the new 3-hour pregame show on the Sooner Radio Network for the 2:30 kick. And it's going to be hot, so hydrate now. For Gabe, I'm Plank. Thanks for joining us on Coach's Corner, presented by Riverwind. Boomer Sooner, everybody.
This has been the Riverwind Casino Coach's Corner, presented by Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Sooner Sports Network.